Well, we can actually show you the observation more and take a look at the boardwalk here at Rehoboth Beach. This is the annual Sea Witch Festival. As you can see, the boardwalk is very crowded, and if you take a closer look, you might actually see a Barney Fife lookalike. This is very much the atmosphere right now. People aren't really taking this too seriously at this point. Obviously, the conditions aren't as bad as we anticipated for now, but come tomorrow and well into Monday, conditions are going to start deteriorating. There's a lot of concern here, especially as the conditions start to worsen about coastal flooding and a lot of beach erosion. And as the system moves in further, I'm sure you've been covering all day on the Weather Channel.
All I'm saying is that there are some things beyond the ken of mortal man that shouldn't be tampered with. We don't know everything, Andy. There's plenty going on right now in the twilight zone that we don't know anything about, and I think we ought to stay clear. Next thing you know, they'll be on motorcycles wearing them leather jackets and zooming around. They'll take over the whole town, a reign of terror.
Scenes where we go from the flooding side of things to the trees down issues. This, I believe, again, is just outside of the New York City area, too, and you can see the water actually washing over the seawall. Just incredible to see the shot. I want to say this is actually from the Jersey side, is what I would be guessing there, but not sure about the location on that one, but you can at least see at least the buildings in Manhattan. We are going to continue to see some big-time issues here with this potentially a record-high surge in the New York City area. That is one of our biggest concerns, at least there for Manhattan itself.
And let's put Times Square back up there. I mean, it is an eerie sight to look at Times Square, having lived there and never seen.
I think this is from Battery Park.
Irene was the last time we had a shot of Times Square. The power is obviously still on. Jim, in the city, do you see any sign of a power issue there yet, or are things still okay there?
You know, I do not see any change in the power here, but, you know, quite honestly, Brian, all these buildings are evacuated.
Yeah.
Where I'm looking at here, Lower Manhattan, so I can't tell if that's just people that have turned off their electricity. I mean, there's a few lights on in some of the higher floors, but all in all, you know, it's pretty dark everywhere. The rain's starting to pick up now, and I told you earlier, guys, that we're starting to see the water kind of lap toward the bottom of these benches here, and that's where it was with Irene. So we're already about there in terms of the tide and the surge, and at least for the moment, we don't seem to be getting any quick rises. I mean, for a moment there, we've got a nice little rise in the water, and that at least right now is settled down. But again, given the facts that you're telling me, we could go 2 to even 3 feet up from where we are here, and that's total water rise, regardless of surge and tide combination. We're probably going to have to pull back here.
Okay, we have confirmation now, Jim. Con Ed has begun shutting off the power in Lower Manhattan. So the water has risen to the point that they're concerned that it's going to get in the switches there. So there are the there's our bruise system. Con Ed shutting off the power, has begun shutting off the power in Lower Manhattan. Water level at the Battery reached 11.87 feet, surpassing the all-time record of 11.2 from 1821. And then there's this whole issue with this crane drama on West 57th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue that they're going to try and figure out what to do with because they still can have these spectacular gusts up at that level. And, of course, you know about the bridges and tunnels being closed. Jim, in the time that we have been here looking at you, we can see the water up to your knees there, and it was not that high when you started out just a few minutes ago.
No, and that's what we're talking about. This is about where this Irene level was in the bottom of these benches. This is exactly what I dealt with. And we already know that the surge is higher. We've already determined that. So we're not at high tide yet. We're not seeing that wind change here like you talked about yet, Brian, which could force even more water up here. So, you know, again, I agree with that. I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done with this water rise at all.
So it looks like, Chris and Crystal, that the things we have talked about here and our fear for the rising water to do with this massive nor'easter-type storm now, formerly hurricane, formerly dual storm, now single storm, is coming to pass, actually maybe even exceeding our fears as we talked about it here in the last few days. Back to you.
The second problem is we are seeing a lot of cars getting stuck on the roads. Many of them are blocking emergency vehicles from getting to people in need. We need to keep the roads clear. do not drive. Let me repeat that. Please do not drive. We have now sent a message to all taxi and limo and livery drivers to get off the roads immediately. As I said earlier, the time to leave has passed. Do not go outside. It is still very dangerous. And from now until the storm is well past, you just have to shelter in place. You need to stay wherever you are. Let me repeat that. You have to stay wherever you are. So don't call 911 unless it is a life-threatening emergency. You're not going to get better service, and you're just keeping others who may have a real life-threatening emergency from getting service. And two, stay off the roads. You getting stuck just keeps the emergency vehicles from getting to help people, and it may be your family that needs the help.
Still getting in plenty of reports of flooding in New York City. The latest MTA reports 4 feet of water into subway tunnels under the East River, and then there's this.
Well, cars underwater here. This is in Manhattan. I believe we're looking at Avenue C and 14th Street. We're going to confirm these reports and these images. We'll be right back.
As dark as it is tonight, yeah, even on your cloudiest, rainiest nights, but because of so much power loss that continues to happen here, these are just things that boggle the mind. Again, the strongest statement of all is the city of New York urging residents to stay indoors until further notice because of this wind that's coming through here, and certainly, obviously, the rising water here in Lower Manhattan. Brian, back to you. Power outages all over New York City right now.
We're seeing an extraordinary amount of water throughout Lower Manhattan. It's basically from river to river.
Just not much light out there. Some of you haven't even felt the worst of it yet.
The evacuations were of the fire department using boats there, and the cars were underwater, and also the FDR Drive, right there, right on the edge, is way underwater, deep underwater, and which is not a totally uncommon thing that happens in nor'easters sometimes. Jim Cantore, are you still there?
Yeah, Brian, look at this. I don't know if you can see the difference, but look at the flashes going on over in Jersey City. I mean, you've got power surges everywhere. I mean, look at it. It looks like a 4th of July fireworks display over there. That is the kind of stuff that we're seeing tonight, whether it be Jersey City, whether it be Bayonne, whether it be Staten Island down toward Brooklyn as well. This is what we're seeing, and the water, unfortunately, is still coming up. This is absolutely unbelievable, guys. It's mind-boggling what we're seeing here tonight in New York. Again, in case you're just joining us, we understand there are water rescues on Grand Avenue. We also understand that the subways are also filling with water. We have heard from the city of New York where they want everyone to just stay inside until further notice. Statements, quite frankly, I've never heard in my life.
Reports of trees down, power outages also. It is going to be a mess, and we expect to get worse. Breaking over the seawall, filling up the road here. I didn't expect it to flood this quickly. And still, Sandy keeps coming.
We've got the home damage, and this is all due to the surge that came in last night. So we're in Matunic, which is about 10 miles away from where we are in Narragansett, and you can see this front row of cottages completely undercut by the wave action. So essentially, when the water came up and the surge came up, it kept running into the wall here. For a lot of these homes, there was lawn, then there was a lawn that came out to here, a slope down to the beach, and then working your way out to the water. Now we've got this wave action that came underneath and actually dragged 3 of those homes out to sea. At least that's what neighbors are telling us right now. A lot of standing water. The video you're seeing right now is a little farther down toward the beach. There's still a lot of standing water in that part of the neighborhood. And a lot of the folks who live here, it's multi-generational. I've already talked to a number who've been here for over 40 years at least, and they say things have changed a lot over those 40 years. There used to be a paved road that came out here, and then the beach was farther back. It's the nature of coastlines to change over time, but certainly when these folks initially invested in their homes, you were talking about a beautiful beach with a parking lot here, a road, big barrier from the ocean. So it's not a case of the ocean's this close, and if you're building a home right here, you're asking for trouble. Things have just changed over the decades, and now with a big storm like Sandy coming in, you've got a loss of some of these cottages. and the water went in about 500 yards over my shoulder into a cornfield down the street. So they saw a tremendous surge here, and certainly some of these homes will be complete losses. The others are going to need some significant construction to get them back in a good livable form.
Now let's look at the video here.
Wow, look at this. This is the flooded roadways that we've seen here in New York City. And unfortunately, this scene is repeated over much of town. And obviously, you can see why travel is being discouraged.
Oh my gosh.
Roadways. And you just can't travel on the subways. They're still shut down because many of the subway tunnels have been flooded.
Oh, that's amazing. And then here, too, you can see the inside of a building. It looks like you can walk right in. It was wide open, probably something ripped away. But also, just you can see little damage here and there around this region. By the way, Nick
said, you know what? I think we're going to sit this one out because the other one wasn't really that bad. Well, guess what? They were in for a surprise, and a lot of people were telling us, yep, on second thought, they should have not stayed. Some people were telling us the water was so high around their homes that there were actually sharks swimming in the water around their homes. There were actually sharks swimming in the water around their homes. Sharks swimming in the water around their homes. So that they weren't about to leave their homes at that point with sharks that are swimming around their front yards. But that's some of the descriptions that we had this morning, waking up here and talking to people, you know, who survived this storm.